in this matchup and in this series, kind of how the tension, the emotions have gotten high, intentional, non-intentional, things like that. But can you just kind of share your perspective of things that just kind of happened and how things escalated there for tonight's show?
The way I see it, the way I saw it was Jack Little was making his major league debut, and he's trying to get through the outing, and we're trying to get him to finish the game. And obviously, the arm side miss to Iglesias walks him, walks in a run, and then he hits Tatis with an arm side fastball. Obviously, I think anyone knows there was no intent, and so. And I think even, Mike speaking the other day, talking about intent versus no intent. And so I think that anyone understands that there was no intent there. And even by my reaction, I didn't feel good about Tatis, a great player, good guy, getting hit. I didn't feel good about it. And so as he comes out and he's yelling at me and staring me down, that bothers me. Because, to be quite frank, that's the last thing I want. I'm taking starters out of the game and, trying to, get this game over and get this kid a couple innings. And so that's why I felt, I took that personal because I understand the game and know that I understand it doesn't feel good to get hit, but understand again, intent versus clearly no intent.
Do you think they threw in Shohei originally again?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's 3-0, and again, this is a right-handed pitcher going across court to hit Shohei up and in. That's a hard throw, and I don't know how many left-handed hitters Suarez has hit with the fastball, but clearly there was intent behind it, and yeah.
You said before, like, that's baseball, but doing that sort of like twice in a week to the same guys, that sort of crossing the line for you?
Yeah, I mean, that's their decision, and Major League Baseball's gonna have to look at that, and that's after warnings were issued. But I can honestly say that, none of the guys, and I know Tatis was hit 3 times in the last 7 games we played, there was not one intent. You don't want that guy on base. And, but yeah, he was hit. But that is baseball. But I know that there was no intent from any of our guys hitting their guys.
Do you think the emotions from this last week and change can kind of linger into, the future, possibly the next time?
I don't know. I hope, we're honestly trying to win baseball games. And that's our only goal. And so I can't speak to that. I do know that we don't see these guys for a long time, and we're just going to try to win as many games as we can before we see them again.
Oh, that's just clear there. I assume that was showed that you were kind of going back.
Yeah. I just, I felt that, again, my reaction, getting hit, having Tatis get hit, I didn't feel good about it. I didn't, because I feel for the player, and I pray nothing, there's x-rays are negative and he's in there tomorrow. But I felt that he was trying to make it personal with me, which then I take it personal, and I just wanted to have a conversation.
How taxing were these 10 games against the Padres and Giants?
I thought we played good baseball, and I think that, some of our guys didn't really perform well, and we still found a way to win, more than we lost, and I think that we fared really well during that stretch of baseball games. So now for me, it's kind of thinking about Mackenzie Gore and the Nationals, and a team that's been scuffling, but it's going to try to make right by playing us. And so I think we did really well in that stretch.
Why was a 5-0 lead in the 8th inning time to pull the top of your lineup?
Yeah, well, I think that for me, you have a guy that, we're using a guy that makes his major league debut, and they were 1 hit away from making it 7-0, and we're in a stretch here of a lot of games, and I felt that, that was the right time. And to be quite frank, Mickey got on base a couple times, and you just don't know how the game's gonna play out. And so, you look back, and we got their closer in the game, as it was in a 5-0 deficit, and we got Matsui in the game. So, in totality, being down 8-0 with, in the 8th inning, it's a pretty good outcome, actually.
Looked like Otani was kind of gesturing, motioning you guys to not come out on the field after you got hit. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think he knew it was intentional. He wasn't hurt by it, and he didn't want any more drama, which I respect that a lot.
He wasn't hurt by it and didn't get his right.
No, he was fine.
Is he gonna be okay for
He
Sunday?
deflected it, he'll be just fine.
If you had waved you guys on the field, would you guys in charge?
Well, I wouldn't, I was in my office, so I don't know.
With the offense, what did you find just was kind of missing from the group with looking to get things to, where did they start?
I don't know, I just think that right now in this series, you can see in 4-game series that Shohei didn't swing the bat well. Good night, Kike, you're in there tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you. I don't think, Shohei didn't swing the bat well, Mookie didn't swing the bat well, Freddie didn't swing the bat well. So I think that we hadn't seen this guy before, so I think there's some of that, but, those guys just didn't really swing the bat well this series, but, they'll be ready to go for the next one.
With Emmett, was it just about needing a fresh arm, what made him now the guy on the mound?
Yeah, with Emmett, it was more of, kind of deciding essentially between Robo and Emmett. And you're talking about going into Denver and altitude and, kind of just making sure the pen is in a good spot, protecting your downside. And Robo has a lot more innings and pitches available versus a guy that's gotten one inning or one outing coming back from a rehab outing, and then potentially to take the Sunday on a shorter rest, which Emmett hasn't done. So I think that in totality, it was the prudent thing to do, but Emmett will be back soon.
Was the hope just for him to continue to just build out?
Yeah, and I think that, sending Emmett out gives him an opportunity to kind of build out naturally.
Should we be surprised that Gonsolin goes to the 60-day?
Probably not.
Has he picked up a ball, done anything yet?
He is not.
This about what you expected from him?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, with Tony, I don't know, if it does happen, I don't know when his, time of return is, but I think that just kind of his history and not picking up a baseball and the progression to get him back, kind of roster 40-man management, there's just not really much margin or expectation for him to be back before that, so it's makes sense.
Was the situation around the stadium this morning a distraction for you guys at all?
I don't think so, and I don't think, some guys are talking about it, but, I don't think that affected us, not scoring runs for 8 innings.
Does it feel more real like when it's at the ballpark though, than maybe it had in the past year?
Probably, but, I think that, once guys get here and they get in the clubhouse and, you get ready for a game, there's a charity softball game out there for Mookie, and I think baseball players, professional athletes do a really good job of, certainly caring about kind of social issues, obviously, and rightfully so, but, when it comes down to doing their job, just kind of focusing on their jobs. Nice.